So we looked at the initial lawsuit that Parler filed against AWS, Amazon Web Services, a couple days ago, and Amazon has responded to that lawsuit. Now, right now, Parler is still down. They have not received their emergency injunction, mostly because of this response here. A couple of good points, a couple of straw man points. More or less, it just kind of reads like your typical fucking Silicon Valley lawsuit, it's just saying, you have a bunch of objectionable content on your platform and you didn't get rid of it quickly enough for what we like, so we had every right to get rid of your services, even though it's blatantly a breach of contract, and it would be speech that was normally preserved under the First Amendment, which I know doesn't apply to your private business, but at the same time, if those are the standards that we're supposed to be adhering to, you can take a look at what's over on Twitter right now, and they cited in the lawsuit there, we aren't going to be reading through it, we're just going to go through a couple of the quick recaps on it, but they cited 100 different objectionable posts. None of them were direct incites to violence, okay? They were just, you should probably get rid of this person. I won't say directly what it is, but it was, the first one that's on there is Fry, and then it has a bunch of hashtags as politicians. Not necessarily a direct call to violence, but if you're one of these online lawyers, not like the actual good ones, but, the type of people who'd feel inclined to drop a comment on anything that they see. That's a direct incitement to violence. Trump should be impeached. Those type of people, yeah, that would fit their description. Not the legal description, not even the ethical description, just whatever they want to go with. So here is the response. Amazon responds to Parler lawsuit, claims case is not about suppressing speech or stifling viewpoints. Well, that's just wrong. Amazon, in response to the lawsuit filed by upstart social media platform Parler, they've been around for 2 years now. Come on now. Asserted that the company displayed a unwillingness and inability to remove violent content after a Monday morning suspension from Amazon Web Services. You didn't do it quick enough for us, so we have the right to breach our contract. Stupid. This case is not about suppressing speech or stifling viewpoints, it said. It's not a conspiracy theory to restrain trade. Obviously. That's what a guilty person would say, now wouldn't it? Not getting on that bandwagon. Wednesday, instead, this case is about Parler's demonstrated unwillingness and inability to remove from the servers of Amazon Web Services content that threatens the public's safety. We care about the public when it's people that we care about, such as by inciting and planning to rape, torture, and assassination of named public officials and private citizens. Very inflammatory speech that you have there. Why don't you just try to paint them as just the official mouthpiece of the Third Reich while you're at it? Parler's suit claimed Amazon engaged in hypocrisy by allowing Twitter to keep a trending topic on its website on the same day, hang Mike Vice President Pence, referring to Mike Pence. Yeah, exactly, because I think it was at the end of last year when Amazon Web Services promised or signed a long-term agreement with Twitter to host a vast majority of their online servers. And yeah, literally, like I was saying, they provided 100 instances and you could find 100 each to counteract what was on Parler. So let's not play this fucking game, shall we? AWS asserted that it does not host Twitter's feed, and that's just wrong. That's just a lie. That it could not have suspended suspended access of Twitter's content after the topic trended on Twitter for several hours. Of course not. No, because they're not going after Twitter. No, why would you do that? You have to get rid of their competitor. Amazon Web Services suit claimed it told Parler repeatedly that content on its site violated the agreement between the two companies, saying that suspension is a last resort. You need to get rid of the content that we find objectionable based on our terms of service, not on what you want to do. You have to adhere to what we do. Amazon's just trying to treat John Matsey and Parler like their child. You guys probably had these arguments with your mom and dad when you were growing up too. It's like, I don't want to do that. That's unfair. Well, you have to do that. It's my house. That's the card that Amazon's pulling right now. There's no legal basis in AWS's customer agreement or otherwise to compel AWS to host content of this nature, but you can't break the 30-day clause. It's there. It says that you can't do that, but they think they can, so it's all fine. And they probably have better, more expensive lawyers. Parler has filed a suit in Washington State Court to also keep the website online, saying AWS violated the Sherman Antitrust Act. Very big claim that you have there. You must have had a rather big-brained lawyer try to draw that up. I think it's fairly stupid. You should just go after breach of contract. Listen, just get the 30 days, get up and running, capitalize on the business that you could be having right now. But perhaps it is important to just establish a precedent that's there, because Amazon Web Services is really acting like quite a cartel on behalf of their, I guess, children, if we're going to continue the analogy with Twitter and Amazon. There's a link in this article here that also links out to the lawsuit itself. It's about a dozen pages. There's a bunch of pot shots made at Parler, because obviously it's their turn to take the shots, because there were quite a few in Parler's lawsuit to Amazon, so their response would in kind require those pot shots as well to be returned. But it still doesn't address the fact that they broke the terms of service. They said that, based on the egregious policies, and we've told them before to get rid of previous posts, we had every right to terminate our contract at a moment's notice. That's not how contracts work. But when your lawyer's expensive enough, you can do whatever you want. So this just dropped earlier today, and this is Parler's response in the lawsuit against Amazon. Parler filed a response to Amazon Web Services on Wednesday in its lawsuit against Seattle-based retail giant, arguing that a representative with Amazon didn't care about content moderation, but it was only concerned with allegedly silencing President Donald Trump. Listen, that's the quiet part. You aren't supposed to say that out loud, but that's more or less just what it is, because everything was just kind of building up to Trump hopping over onto Parler, and that was the most likely landing point for the president. But yeah, literally within hours of that happening, the iStore, or whatever, Apple Store, and the Google Play Store just got rid of the apps, and then, yeah, hours later, Amazon was going to drop them from their servers. Because fairness and tolerance and unity. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a week since Capitol Hill, and I have just been basking in all of this unity and togetherness. It's overwhelming at this point. I don't quite know what to do with myself. Anywho, it came after Amazon Web Services said in court that a company displayed an unwillingness and inability to remove violent content after the firm suspended Parler from its web hosting services on Monday morning. It completely shut down Parler's ability to retain its millions of users, attract advertisers, or generate any revenue. AWS has knowingly inflicted lasting damage on what was, until very recently, a thriving business. Parler's filing on a late Wednesday read. As you can see, the hyperlinks in blue there, so you can read through the PDF at your own leisure. But something else that they alleged in the Amazon alleged in the lawsuit, which I don't think would stand in a court of law, but what do I know? We've seen a lot more depressing things come out of the courts recently. But Amazon alleged that Parler said publicly, citing some misspelt parlays, that Parler doesn't solely rely on AWS in order to maintain their online services, that they'd have additional backups. Well, we don't know when those statements were made. Okay, and right after the election, when everybody was moving over and Parler was trending on Twitter, fucking 2 or 3, 4 times a week, we don't know if they required additional server space. So what they have in reserve, if they have a reserve, I don't know, might have been enough at a time in order to keep the platform online. If Amazon were to revoke their server capacities, that probably couldn't maintain the brand new influx of people. And there's no hard numbers from last Friday or last Thursday, last Friday, when all the depersoning of Trump started, like how much of a growth they were experiencing. But yeah, when AWS is the biggest name in the game, that's kind of where you have to go. And then when you get blocked out based on, we don't like you premises, well, hence the lawsuit, I suppose. Amazon expressed no concern with Parler's content moderation, according to the filing, adding that the same Amazon representative repeatedly asked whether the president had joined or would join Parler now that he was blocked from Twitter and Facebook. Interesting revelation we got here. Following the breach of the U.S. Capitol building, many have faulted President Trump's speech to protesters, including the House, because they just impeached him based on a fucking faulty interpretation of what he said. Twitter, Facebook, and other big tech firms quickly suspended the accounts. And Parler, which has billed itself as a free speech social media platform and was favored by conservatives. Yep. It was awesome. I like it. Hopefully it comes back. There's reports flying out there right now that it might not come back because they aren't doing anything with this in the courts right now. And why would you file in the home state of Amazon? For fuck's sakes, that is borderline retarded. It really goes to show that all of the lawyers that they would have had on retainer were quickly fleeing the platform. So stupid. After Twitter banned President Trump on January 8th, the increased new user and activity caused Parler to go down for 7 hours, resulting in a backlog of 26,000 instances of content that potentially encouraged violence, said the court filing. Let's just read that last bit again. Instances of content that potentially encouraged violence. Potentially encouraged violence. That's what we're going on now. Not actual incitement to violence. Not a directed attack. Potentially could have resulted in that. Like if your friend shows you a new bike that he got and then you say, I hope that you fall and you scuff it up. That's the type of content that they could be referring to. I would just say, hopefully he scuffs up his new helmet and he doesn't have a helmet in sight, implying that he cracks his skull open. But according to the company, Parler then was able to systematically remove almost all the content, which progress was reported to AWS within 48 hours by the end of Sunday when AWS shut Parler down. Parler had removed all but 1,000 problematic posts, and if they were working on it, they don't have the team that Twitter does. They don't employ the algorithms that we know of that Twitter does. So if they're working on it and they're getting rid of the actually objectionable content, what the fuck are you doing here? Other than trying to censor a platform that is the only viable competitor to one of your biggest users. I don't know. I'm just trying to connect the dots here. The firm noted that it was going to add additional provisions to moderate content, but it argued that Amazon appeared not to listen. The filing also revealed that Parler's operations had hoped that it could find another online host to recover from the AWS shutdown. The effects of the AWS actions have proven much more catastrophic, Parler's filing said. The notoriety and fallout of the breakup have driven away current and potential business partners, utterly frustrating Parler's pre-termination plans to quickly replace and recover from AWS. I think that's fair. You probably don't need anything written down to just put the two together that Amazon was walking away from them because, they're platforming a bunch of bad people with a bunch of bad speech that we don't like, and we're sure that you wouldn't like, fellow web hosters. The initial lawsuit sought to restore Parler service with AWS for the 30 days in order for them to find and move over to another platform that wouldn't deplatform them, and claimed the Seattle-based company broke its contractual agreement. Amazon disagreed with the claim. And here's the final bit that they referenced, not in the first article, but is a part of their response to the lawsuit. This is not a case about suppressing speech or stifling viewpoints. It is not a conspiracy to restrain trade. Instead, this case is about Parler's demonstrated unwillingness and inability to remove from servers of Amazon Web Services content that threatens the public safety, such as by inciting and planning to rape, torture, and assassination of named public officials and private citizens. Yeah, but if they were getting rid of that shit and you guys were known of the progress that was going on, what the fuck are you doing other than trying to, and as I might quote you, suppressing speech and stifling viewpoints? It sure seems like there's a case to be made there, but hopefully it goes in front of a court soon and they can figure out what the fuck is going on, because that emergency injunction sure would be nice, because I like Twitter. Jesus Christ, no, nothing could be further from the truth. I like Parler. There we go. I think it's cool that there was a free speech website that didn't employ algorithms in order to promote certain content and repress other content. Like, I'd post exactly the same stuff on Twitter and Parler, and the Parler stuff would just, maybe that's the base, okay? It was identical, okay? The two messages would go out at the same time, and one would get next to nothing on Twitter, and the other one would just be seen exponentially more. But that's just a little anecdote, kind of like what's been going back and forth between these two. Hopefully they figure out something soon. Who knows? Otherwise, I've got a little Gab account set up, and I don't really want to promote it because I don't want too many fucking social media platforms, because if I get so many, I don't know. I think innately being on YouTube, you just have that thing where you just want to yell, rate, comment, and subscribe in the back of your mind all the time. And if you keep signing up to these different social media platforms, I will probably just install a sunroof in my forehead via the brainstem if I got to continue doing that. So I hope not. And hopefully we can find a solution for Parler, because like I said, I like Parler. I'm sure a bunch of you out there found me via Parler, and I appreciate everyone out there. So hopefully they can get to the bottom of this, and hopefully I can provide an update for y'all as soon as it happens. enjoy the rest of your wonderful Wednesday evening. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.